I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start mental living again. Getting dividends, so we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nominee and domino. So what you fucking trying to do? Rhyming comical. Guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to the pussy niggas just popping shit. See my all stars. I coach them up like a Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologist. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I rhyme it is regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit's gotten retarded since all the dominance. One West rising to prominent. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got group five for Uber. Rhymes hard like they've been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata, with a regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Impalas, let the semi holler. A showstopper, been the stopper since the teeny bopper. But now I'm going off patrol and premium a vodka. I put the tickets on the clock, modified the chopper. The war heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when they eat on, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I hit them niggas feel like a tire, deep, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. You a igniter, I'm winning coming through with the style because you be. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the Lord's statutes and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and ain't gonna continue to take. And we don't care who we. You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the Lord's statutes and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and ain't gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our food to put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they rob a lick of shit tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. One Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. One Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
One Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto and Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms. Never getting treatment, something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, practice better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream of life. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Go through it cause we Israelites. One Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Go through it cause we Israelites. One Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, putting work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love they reflection. No matter what the complexion, we got a common connection. A part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection. Through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every vice. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price. So who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites.
First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced by might, with every sickness reveal. I won't pay back, fuck the dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Die to the indoor until I let this pump whistle at my foes in memory of Emmett Till. I only live to do my master's will. I.S.U.P.K, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone astray but made greater. In my return, left to my mistakes. Every error.
Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatha to all the brothers. Shalom Shamar Alatha Ba'ashem Yahshai to all the sisters. This is the I.S.U.P.K Canada History class. Back at it again. We a little late, but we here. Let's get it in. Akim, clap it up. Let's give a very big shout out to a new officer in Canada, Officer of 50, Shariwan. Let's clap it up one more time for him. He worked hard. He deserved it. Right? Trooper, your rod's coming up next. You know, let's get it. Right? So today we're going to talk about Black History Month. Right? So Black History Month is it's a month where Black people decide that they want to celebrate their history. It's a month allocated for Black people to celebrate their history. Ironically, Black people, we're from a warm climate and we like to be outside. So they gave us, you know, Black History Month in the cold, right? But I got a message for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Black history, and when I say Black, I mean Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We all the same. We one people, right? Black history is every day, right? We create Black history every day, not just for 28 days. It just so happens that I think this February might be a leap year, so it might go to 30 or 29. Some I don't know, something these like the Edomites, they like to play around with dates and stuff, so it might be a leap year this year and we go up to the 30th. But again, Black history is every day, right? So let me get this right. Right, now we got it right. Right, so Black history is every day, right? Not just when they decide to let us celebrate Black history. We celebrate Black history every day, right? We make history every day. History was made like we'll say yesterday, we had a new officer 50, Sharyuwan, right? He did it big. He got in this UPK, put on all black for 90 days, just like myself and just like Trooper Urad did, right? And the men above him saw it fit that he could do his officer's test, and now he's an officer of 50 in the truth, right? I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA, which is home of the truth. Salaki, I forgot. I'm Officer 50 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. We are not affiliated with any other Hebrew group, right? Any fake camp. We're not affiliated with them. This is the home of the truth. You want the truth for your people? Get in this body, get in this school, right? We're a school. We're not a camp. We go out and hold camp, but this is a school where you come and learn practical knowledge, universal practical knowledge, right? So we're gonna get into a little brief history of Black history, and we're gonna find out what Black History Month celebrates, right? Also, we're gonna talk about an amazing sister, right? A virtuous sister, right? If you're Canadian, you've seen a lady on the $10 bill. It's no longer an old racist Edomite, right? It's no longer him. Like there might be a few $10 bills with that racist Edomite's face still in circulation, but right now there's a new $10 bill with a sister on it, Viola Desmond, right? And we're gonna go into her story and the things that she had to overcome to and why she's on the $10 bill, right? Now, I know everybody's seen this $10 bill. Some might say they haven't seen it, but damn near everybody's seen this $10 bill. And have you ever wondered why this sister was on this $10 bill? Right? And it wasn't even until I got into the truth that I decided to find out why this sister is on the $10 bill. Right? So before we start, let's give a very big hand to Commanding General YAHANNA, all the generals, all the officers, all the Salakia, all the generals, all the captains, all the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Let's get one more big round of applause. Right? So now we're gonna get it in. So let's get it in. I need that screen share for a quick second. Where are we gonna go? We're gonna go Black History Month first. Right? So before it was called Black History Month, we had Negro History, right? So get it in. Bear with me one moment. Anybody watching, hit that like button. If you're not in this school, click those links. We got links in all types of languages for you. Click that link, sign up, get in the school. Brothers, put on all black. Sisters, put on a dress. Keep your head covered. Put fringes on those dresses. Brothers, put fringes on the sides of your pants. Fringes don't go on t-shirts. Get in the school and put in work. Let's make Black history. Right? Because again, Black history is every day. Every day, a Black man, a Black sister, an Hispanic man, a Native American man and sister, they do something that's historical. Right? And Salakia. Right? So you gotta get in this truth. Right? So we're gonna get it in. Hold up, let me get that screen share. Where do we want to go? We're gonna go here. Akim, if you chime in, just you already know, hit your mic, chime in whenever you want. I don't really got any feedback right now, so y'all don't really need to get your mic on mute. Y'all can take your mics off mute. All right, let's see. What are we sharing? 1 second.
Salak, are you there, Trooper Urad? Okay. Salak, one moment, everyone. We're just waiting for Officer Zabadi to return. All right, Salak, everyone. We're going to continue. I'm just going to start reading over an article. So what Officer Zabadi was bringing out was an article on Black History Month. And it reads, Black History Month is an annual observance originating in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month. It has received official recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, and more recently has been observed in Ireland, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom.
It began as a way of remembering important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. It is celebrated in February in the United States and Canada, while in Ireland, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, it is observed in October. So just regarding this article, I know Officer Zabadi is going to start getting into the history of Viola Desmond. But this article itself, it's just kind of talking about the history of Black History Month. Just its origins, where it originated from, and what it's about. And I know one of the sad things I always see is when anytime that's anything attributed to our history, it's always attributed to Black or African American. And that's one of the things that you always know, just that we are the children of the book. You know, the Bible is our history book. I know in the book of Jeremiah, it talks about that we would forget our heritage. We wouldn't remember it anymore. And so Black history is actually this Bible. You know, Native Indian history is actually this Bible. So-called Hispanics, it's actually this Bible. You know, the history is in this book. And so Officer Zabadi is going to get into that. Salakia, just one moment. Just bear with us. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, that's the origins of Black History Month. And so Zabadi, I was just letting them know we just finished the article. I just kind of talking about the origins of Black history, and that the Bible itself is actually our history. So the officers of Bible
throughout the Salakia, you said you read the article already?
Khan, yeah, we read through the whole article.
Khan, you read through it?
Khan.
Okay. So as we read through this article, there was a part where he said that Salakia, going through it with this computer right now, it definitely does not want this truth to come out. But right, so as we went through Negro History Week in this article, which is Black History Month, we found out that this week coincided with a devil, two devils actually. The first devil, Abraham Lincoln, right? It coincided with Salakia. I believe it was their birthdays, right? So it coincided with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and of Frederick Douglass on February 14th, right? So Carter G. Woodson, he was a brother, right? He was the son of slaves, and he wanted his history celebrated, but he didn't know that his history was in the book that they didn't want him to read, right? So he decided, because Abraham Lincoln so-called freed the slaves, which is not true, right? The slaves were never free. We might not have that yoke of iron on our neck, and we might not be getting our backs whipped in, but the sons of slaves and the daughters of slaves are still being shot dead and lynched in the street, right? Earlier this week, I think if it wasn't yesterday or a few days ago, there was a 9-year-old girl, right? A Black 9-year-old girl who was pepper sprayed, right? She was freaking out. They had her handcuffed in the car. 2 Edomites surrounded her, handcuffed in the back of a police car, trying to get her in. And she's traumatized. After seeing all the stuff that happened with George Floyd and all the riots that happened last year, she was traumatized, right? And she wanted to see her father, right? You watch that video. It's on one of those blog sites. You could go check it out. A 9-year-old girl was pepper sprayed. She cried out for her father because she's surrounded by devils. A baby that's just born knows who the devil is, right? Knows who the devil the Bible speaks of is, and that's our oppressors. She was surrounded by oppressors, handcuffed in the back of a car, a 9-year-old girl, and because she was traumatized and freaking out like any child would, being handcuffed in the back of a police car surrounded by your oppressors, they threatened to pepper spray her if she didn't calm down. All she wanted was her daughter. They turned around, a male devil turned around and pepper sprayed her, right? The police chief of that district, I believe it's Florida if I'm not mistaken, he tried to justify his his officers' actions, right? And tried to make it seem like she was traumatized, and the police that pepper sprayed this 9-year-old girl was also traumatized. Now just imagine a 9-year-old girl being traumatized in the back of a police car and two grown adults talking about, if we can't get you in the car, we're gonna pepper spray you. She's a 9-year-old girl. She's not even strong, right? And now she's traumatized for life, right? So the slaves were never free, right? But again, Negro History Week coincided with the birth of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, both two devils, right? Frederick Douglass, he had a black mother, but a devil for a father, right? So he is of his father, the devil, right?
And Salaku,
Karnak.
I just want to add that, so some of the things you're saying, I'm not sure we touched in the article, so it might be best to read over that article.
Karnak, we'll go right back into it. Thuadak, right? Big shout out to Trooper Sakad, right? I see you over there checking in. Shalom, Mark, Most High in Christ. Thuadak for tuning in. Again, if you're watching this, thumb up the video, thumb up the video, thumb up the video, right? Thumb this video up, share it on your Snapchat, your Twitter, your Periscope, your TikTok, your Facebook, your IG, right? Don't be just watching the Bust It Challenge. Share this video, right? So, unfortunately, because the devil the Bible speaks of makes shitty technology sometimes, I'm just going to have to read this article. So we're going to run through it right quick, right? So Negro History Week was created in 1926 in the United States when historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of the Negro Life and History announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week, right? Again, Black history is every day. If you want Black history, just bust open that Bible and start at Genesis 1 verse 1, right? This week was chosen because it coincided with the birth of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th, both of which dates Black communities had celebrated together since the late 19th century, right? So in the name of Black history, we're celebrating devils, right? That should just wrap it up right there for you. In the name of Black history, we're celebrating devils. But Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, what is your history? Where's your history before the slave ships, before the whips, before Christopher the Rapist sailed the ocean blue? Right? So let's get more into it. The thought process behind the week was never recorded, but scholars acknowledge two reasons for its birth: recognition and importance. Woodson felt deeply that at least 1 week would allow for the general movement to become something annually celebrated. And he was right. It's celebrated annually, right? But let's celebrate our real history. Let's just not celebrate history for 28 days and then we forget about it, right? Also, after the 10-year long haul to successfully complete his journal of Negro history, he realized the subject deserved to resonate with a greater audience. right? So let's get more into it. From the event's initial phase, primary emphasis was placed on encouraging and coordinated teaching of the history of Black Americans in the nation's public schools, right? Now, when we go to public school, and we've all gone to public school, they give us a watered down version of our history. Our history doesn't tell us, they don't tell us that we're the real Jews, the real Israelites, if you're in the Northern Kingdom, right? They don't tell us that we are God's chosen people, that we're above every nation. That's why they hated us, whipped our backs, called us Injuns, niggers, and spicks, right? They don't tell us that. They just say, oh, celebrate Martin Luther King. He successfully killed your businesses. And we love him for it, right? The Departments of Education of the United States of North Carolina, Delaware, and West Virginia, as well as the city school administrations of Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Despite this far from universal observance, the event was regarded by Woodson as one of the most fortunate steps ever taken by the association. Plans for a repeat of the event on an annual basis continued apace. Let's get some more. We got a little more, and then we're going to go into our subject. At the time of Negro History Week's launch, Woodson contended that the teaching of Black history was essential to physical and intellectual survival of the race within border society. Right? So I'm going to stop right there for a quick second, right? So let's get into this right here. It said at the time of Negro History Week's launch, Woodson contended that the teaching of Black history was essential to ensure physical and intellectual survival of race, right? So intellectual deals with the mind, right? So in dealing with the mind, we find out that we need to know our history. When you don't know your history, you sleep with oppressors, right? When you don't know your history, you vote two devils into office and act like that's the first Black woman president. And as we said, now if there ever is to be another Black woman president, which we don't support voting, right? We vote for Christ. We vote for a sure win, right? I ain't going to vote for something that doesn't make sense. Like, is he going to win? Is he not? Why am I giving my energy to that? Like, I would rather devote my love and my time to my people. I would rather go out in the street and stand up for 3 to 4 hours on the corner, looking like a warrior, right? And opening our history book and reading to my people and telling them about their history and why they go through the curses. When you don't know your history, you call yourself Black, right? Just look at the background of this live stream right here. That's Black. My people are different shades of brown, right? We got some dark-skinned brown people and some light-skinned brown people, but my people are brown. We're not Black. We're not Hispanics. We're not Native Americans, right? But this is what we call ourselves today because it's commonly used, right? So in learning your history, you know that you know who you are, right? When you know your history, you won't fall for the tricks. You won't be told to vote for an East Indian, right? Let's go through some East Indian history in the Caribbeans, right? Now, I.S.U.P.K, we don't support the growing of dreads on your head. That's East Indian. But the East Indians know that the dreads on the heads of the Rastafarians throughout Trinidad to Jamaica and other islands, that's their culture. That's why the East Indians would go and harass and abuse, right, our brothers if they seen them with dreads on their head. And we also don't support smoking. There are no drug addicts in the I.S.U.P.K, right? So they would see the Rastas smoking and they would take their nightsticks and beat them in the head. Right now, you get a cut in the head where your hair is, and in these stitches, they have to cut your hair to get those stitches. So that was the whole purpose, right? So when you don't know your history, you vote for an Indian daughter, right? And you vote for your favorite oppressor, who his first moves are homosexual, right? You're the children of Israel. Homosexuality is a sin according to our power, Yahweh, right? And if you don't believe me, just go look for Sodom and Gomorrah or Gomorrah, right? Just go look for it. Go find it. Like, and when you find it, let me know where it's at, and you let me know what it looks like, and you go find the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? According to the Bible, the Lord destroyed those places. So let's get back into this article. We just got a little more, and then we're gonna get into our main topic, and we're gonna get it in on this Black history. If a race has no history, it has no worthwhile tradition, right? So what are the traditions of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, right? So I got one for you right here, right? A tradition of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we're going to celebrate in a few is Purim, right? That's the 14th and 15th day of the 12th month. This year, Purim will be Thursday, February 25th and Friday, February 26th. You can find that in Esther 9, chapter 9, verses 20 to 31, right? Those are our traditions. Our traditions were to put on beautiful garments that had fringes and beautiful colors, and our sisters had their heads wrapped, and they didn't walk around like whores, right? They didn't walk around like whores showing every part of their body that their husband's supposed to see. That was our traditions, right? Our traditions, we celebrated first fruits, Feast of Tabernacle, unleavened bread. Passover's coming up. It's going to be in Texas. Get with your camp leader. Get with the I.S.U.P.K. Make your way to Texas, right? Get with your camp leader. Hit him up. Our camp leader's officer, 5,000 a bond. Hit him up and find out how you could get to Texas to celebrate Black and Hispanic and Native American traditions, Israelite traditions, right? So if a race has no history, it has no worthwhile tradition. It becomes Salakia. Negligible, it becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world. It stands in danger of being exterminated, right? They put Planned Parenthood and many abortion clinics in our neighborhood because they want to exterminate us. They want to use our fetuses to our dead children, right? If I say fetuses, it sounds pretty, like a fetus. But really, they want to take the dead bodies of our babies and test on them to make COVID-19 vaccines and other vaccines around the world, right? They take those cells and they test their vaccines on those cells. Those are the human trials, right? The American Indian left no continuous record. He did not appreciate the value of tradition and where he is today. The Hebrew keenly appreciated value of tradition. You know what? We're going to get more into this, right? For the record, Native Americans they carried their traditions, right? Now, Native Americans today might not know that they're the Israelites. Some of them do, and they're in the I.S.U.P.K. But the Native Americans, for the most part, they kept their traditions, right? That's why you see their beautiful garments with the fringes on it, right? Get my headband right. I get my headband right, you know? Right? We are practicing our traditions right now. Look at Trooper Urad. Look at Officer of 50 Sharyuan and myself. We got the headbands on, headpieces on, right? That is our tradition, straight out the Bible. Right, so that's a little brief history of Black History Month. So when you celebrate Black History Month, just know that you're celebrating Frederick Douglass, the son of a white man, and Abraham Lincoln, a white man who so-called freed the slaves, but in reality you're not free. So now we're going to go into our main topic, Viola Desmond. Hold up, let's get it. I was gonna share the screen. I'm gonna try and share this screen one more time. Hopefully it works. Salakia, if it doesn't work. All right, we look like we're working. Okay. We working. Most High in Christ. Right? Viola Desmond, $10 bill wins International Banknote of the Year Design Award. Right? So let's go into this. A Canadian bill featuring Nova Scotia civil rights pioneer Viola Desmond has been named the best in the world, right? Again, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're the best in the world. You just have to know that. They're going to use your swag and they're going to use your likeness and they're going to use your culture to make themselves look good, right? That's why the whole world follows after a black art form, hip hop, right? Because they just know we got that flavor. The International Banknote Society has announced that Desmond Bill won the coveted Banknote of the Year award for 2018, beating out top designs from places like Switzerland, Norway, Russia, and the Solomon Islands, right? In March 2018, the federal government unveiled the vertical banknote design featuring Desmond's portrait and a map of her North End, Halifax neighborhood. The bill went into circulation in November. Desmond played a seminal role in Canada's civil rights movement. When on November 8, 1946, she went to see a movie at the Roseland Theatre in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, while her car was getting fixed, right? Desmond was dragged out of the theater by police and jailed for defiantly sitting in the whites-only section of the film house. At the time, black people could only sit in the balcony. Her ensuing legal fight against the injustice helped end segregation in Nova Scotia. In 2010, she was posthumously awarded an apology and a pardon. Right? That apology and pardon, it didn't really do anything. Black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we were better off segregated. Right? That's when we had to work for ourselves. That's when we had to help ourselves. That's when we had to deal with each other and love each other. Now, niggas don't have to deal with each other, right? Excuse my French, but it is like, we don't have to deal with each other. If I want something, if I want a suit made, right, and I'm in the world, you just go to the tailor and go to the Moabite behind the counter and she makes your suit. And the I.S.U.P.K, Israelites make our clothing. You see this headband and the headband Trooper Sharyuan has on? Israelites made these. I had to go to a brother to get these headbands. Right? We had to go to brothers for our garments. Right? So during segregation, we were better off. Let's get to our new Salakia. Let's get to the other article that we're going to read. I'm going to just read it out. Salakia, one moment. Get rid of that. I'm going to read out this article for you, and we're going to go into a few precepts. Let me just get this article. Viola Desmond, Nee Davis, was born on July 6, 1914, one of 10 children of James Albert and Gwendolyn Irene Nee Johnson. Davis Viola grew up with her grandparents who were active in the black community in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Despite the fact that her mother was white and her father black, uncommon for the time, growing up, Desmond noted the absence of professional hair and skin care products for black women and set her sights on addressing the need. Being of African descent. Now, once again, like you might hear being of African descent, and if you're not in this school and you don't know your history because you only know what you learned during Black History Month, you're gonna think that you're from the land of fleas, right? But you're not a Hamite, you're an Israelite, you're from Shem. You're not from the land of fleas. You don't put plates in your lips, you don't eat monkey meat, you don't stick your head in a cow's rear, right? That's not what you do. That's not your culture, right? You're not an Egyptian. The Egyptians were homosexuals. If you don't know that, just do your research, right? Let's get back into this. Nova Scotia, despite where were we? Being of African descent, she was not allowed to train to become a beautician in Halifax, right? So there was a time when Halifax was very segregated and you weren't allowed to train for certain jobs. You just had to live your life and live the life that they wanted you to live, right? But being that we are a special people, a holy people, we know how to overcome, right? We know how to overcome the odds. We're survivors. We've survived every terrorist attack that the devil has done to us. From the blowing up of Black Wall Street last week, we went into the Shelburne riots and the Elaine riots. We survived heroin in our neighborhoods. We survived crack cocaine. We survived slavery. We just survived. That's what we do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Trooper Urad, can you get me Deuteronomy 28 and 1, Baba Kasha, right? So we survived Native American Salakia. We survived all the attacks that has happened to us, right? So she wasn't allowed to become a beautician in Halifax. So she left and received beautician training in Montreal, right? From Montreal, she went to New York, right? Then she went to Atlantic City and one of Madame C.J. Walker's beauty schools in New York. Madame C.J. Walker was the first Black millionaire in America, right? So she had to leave far in Nova Scotia, right? Okay, so if you're in Toronto, it's an 8-hour drive from the city of Toronto to New York City, right? It's damn near a 2-day drive in a nice car. And these 200, 300 horsepower cars from here to Nova Scotia right now. And Salakia, if I'm wrong, I think you got to take a ferry as well to get there, right? Or that might be Prince Edward Island or one of the islands. But you might have to take a ferry as well to get there. And she basically drove from Nova Scotia to Montreal, from Montreal into Toronto, from Toronto into New York. Then she went to Atlantic City, which is Salakia. That's somewhere in New Jersey, right? So upon finishing her training, Desmond returned to Halifax to start her own hair salon. Trooper Urad, can you get me? Can you read Deuteronomy 28 and 1? Salakia, I can't hear you. Speak one more time, Ak. Salakia, Ak, if you can hear me, you might just have to back out and come back in. Officer Sharyuwan, can you get me Deuteronomy 28 and 1, Baba Kasha?
God, no sir.
Khan,
This
Ak,
is
the water,
the
Ak.
book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. So I might be lagging a bit. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right? So we would be set high above all nations of the earth. Right? We would be holy people to the Lord, to the Most High. Right? So Salakia, jump down to verse 9. When you read these verses, you're gonna read why we're able to overcome all the tragedies and all of the crimes that the oppressors have done to us, right? Because the Lord, he might not, Salakia, the Lord is with his people at times, right? And he's the reason why we're able to survive. If it wasn't for the Lord, we'd be wiped out. We'd still be in slavery right where they want us, right? But because of the Lord, there's an awakening going on in the earth, and you're watching I.S.U.P.K. Canada right now because of the Most High, right? So, and let's not forget that because General YAHANNA never dropped his sword ever, right? That's why this truth is still in the earth, because of the strong men that he raised up. Strong men like Officer of 5,000 of Bond. Strong men like Officer of 50 Shayuan and Trooper Urad. Right? So that's why this truth is going on in the earth, and that's why we're able to survive, because the Lord gives us our strength, right? And he made us an holy people. So Kanak, I hear you now. I hear you now. Let's go.
Same question.
Salaki, Aki, you were gonna say something?
If I could, sir, I was just checking to see if the sound was to what.
Oh, Kanak, yeah, you too, Wob. You good, you straight, right? Trooper Shayuan, get me. Can you read verse 9? And Salakia, my bad. Officer Shayuan, can you get me verse 9 in that same chapter? Trooper Urad, can you get me 2nd Ezra 6 and 54 and hold that for me? Officer Shayuan, whenever you got that verse 9, you could drop it.
Verse 9. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself.
Right? So the
he
Lord
has sworn unto thee.
Right. Now you continue reading, Ak.
If thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways.
Right? So the Lord made us a holy people, a separate people. We just got to keep his commandments and walk in his ways and not forget about our slavery. And within forgetting about your slavery, you start to sleep with oppressors, right? Don't do that. Don't sleep with oppressors, right? We're not supposed to do international marriage. That's why the flood happened. International marriage is also why Solomon lost the kingdom. Right? That's why the kingdom split. Right. That's how we became Gentiles. Right? We're gonna just stay tuned, keep checking in every Monday at 7 o'clock, and we're gonna bring out this history, and we're gonna start getting into some biblical history as well. Right? So we're a holy people, and that's why we're able to overcome like the tragedies that our oppressors have done to us. Salakia, Trooper Urad, bring me to. Can you drop that 2nd Ezra for me?
So, if I could, sir, 2nd Ezra is 15 and 4. You mentioned
2nd Ezra 6 and 54. Right. If you're watching, get you a KJV 1611 and an Apocrypha. Those are tools that you need to read your history. Right. Read about the Maccabees and learn why you should never eat pork.
Whenever
you got it, Ak.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord over all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
Read.
Verse 55. All these have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
Right? So the world was made for the sakes of the Israelites. The people who came of Noah and Adam, who got the covenant, right? Through Shem, through Abraham, through Isaac and Jacob. Read.
Verse 56. As for the other people,
As for the heathens, read.
which also come of Adam,
The Chinese also come from Adam. The oppressors, the white men, also come from Adam. The fake Jews also come from Adam. The East Indians also come from Adam. Read.
thou hast said that they are nothing.
They are nothing. Wait. So that said there's something?
They are nothing.
That said they're special.
Thou hast said that they are nothing.
One more time. That said they're supposed to be over us.
Thou hast said that they are nothing.
Read. Finish that out for me, Ak.
But be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
Right? So they are nothing. Right? And the Israelites are a special people. Your history, you are a special people. Your history is in this book. Right? Officer Shaywan, can you bring me to Leviticus 20 and 26? Right? Let's just reassure and get it one more time, because all throughout this book, our history book, it says that we are chosen and we're a special people. Whenever you got it, drop it on.
This is Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26. No sweat. Verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I the Lord am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
Right? So that's again showing you that the Lord separated us and we're holy people, right? Not keeping his commandments is why we go through curses. We're not a cursed people, but we go through punishments for not keeping the Lord's commandments. So now let's get back into this article about a sister who she was doing good works for her people, right? So Desmond returned to Halifax to start her own hair salon. Her clients included Portia White and a young Gwen Jenkins, later the first Black nurse in Nova Scotia, right? So she returned back to Nova Scotia to show her people's sisterhood, right? Let's keep reading. In addition to the salon, Desmond opened a Salakia. In addition to the salon, Desmond opened the Desmond School of Beauty Culture, so Black women would not have to travel as far as she had to receive proper training, right? And now that sounds like sisterhood, right? That sounds like good sisterhood for her people. Right, she was a virtuous woman. She went to go train, right? Trooper Trooper Shaywan, get Salakia. I keep doing that shit. I'm gonna get it right. Don't worry. Trooper Urad, bring me to Proverbs 31 and 10. Right? Yeah, bring me to drop that. Bring me to Galatians 6 and 1. Cause what she did was something really good. She knew that her sisters weren't able to get the training for the basic things that they needed, right? Like you ask any Black, Hispanic, and Native American, we love our hair. Our hair is like our crown. It's part of us, right? You don't really see too many. Like once a Black, Hispanic, or Native American starts growing their hair, you just see a whole different vibe, a whole different spirit from them, right? So we take, for lack of a better word, we take pride in our hair, right? And our beauty products, right? Sisters will spend hours, right? You trying to go to the movies on a date with your rib, and she trying to get ready, and you told her the movie starts at 7:30, but it's 7:15, and she's still in the washroom trying to get right. She's doing it for you, brothers. That's who she's doing it for. But she knows like her beauty is something that you love, and she's not just gonna let herself come outside looking like a wreck. Right, we leave that for the Edomites and the other nations. They come outside looking like a hot mess, right? So she took on the burden of traveling to New York, to Montreal, to Atlantic City, away from her family and friends, to go train so she could bring back something for her people, right? So we're gonna drop a precept on that very thing right now. Right, so Trooper Urad, when you got Galatians 6 and 1, drop it.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
Wait 1 second. Salakia, let me find it. Right, read verse 2 for me.
Verse 2. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
Right, so bear your brother's burdens, right? Show that, bear his burdens and bear your sister's burdens, and teach them, show them brotherhood, right? That's how you fulfill the law. You show your brother and sister brotherhood, and that's what she did, right? Trooper Urad, bring me to Proverbs 31 and 10. Baba Kashah. Right, and while you get that, we're gonna read some more into this story. Catering to women from Nova Scotia. Let me just go back up a little. In addition to the salon, Desmond opened the Desmond School of Beauty Culture so that Black women would not have to travel as far as she had to receive proper training. Catering to women from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Quebec, the school operated using vertical integration, right? So vertical, when I looked up vertical integration, Trooper Barakia Allah, Shalom, Lord in Christ, the water for tuning in, right? Vertical integration is basically she created her own products to use in that school and in her business, right? So that's the framework that she used for her business. Students were provided with the skills to open their own businesses and provide jobs for Black women within their communities. Salakia Trooper, are you still there? All right. While we wait for the Trooper,
Salakia, sir.
Khan, whenever you got that, drop it.
Come, sir. Salakia. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her
Right.
price.
Hold that 1 second. Who can find a virtuous woman? Right? A virtuous woman, a woman that keeps the laws, a woman that's not naked on Instagram showing her assets to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Jamal, and Larry out there, right? She's not doing the bust it down challenge. She's in that kitchen busting down some eggs, right? Now that's not saying that sisters just have to be in the kitchen, but a virtuous woman, she's at that kitchen table busting down those school books, right? Learning something that she could give to her children, right? Viola Desmond, she went to train to give her people something. She wasn't walking around as a harlot, right? Most of these sisters, it's a sad state for our sisters right now. Like everything devious, that's what they want to do, right? Get naked on Instagram, they want to do that. Fans only, they want to do that. A stupid challenge where you try to do some sexual act on a vegetable, that's what they're doing, right? And Viola Desmond, she wasn't doing that. Read that one more time. She was a virtuous woman. Read that one more time from the top.
Come, sir. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Right? So even though our sister is on the $10 bill, her price was far above rubies. Right? Have y'all ever seen rubies? I know you've seen some fake diamonds, a lot of gold, but have you ever seen rubies and seen how beautiful those are? Right? This sister, her price was far above those rubies. Was that it, Ak?
So that's the end of the verse there after rubies.
Con. Drop me down to verse 25 right quick.
Okay. Strength and honor are her clothing.
Right? So a virtuous sister, strength and honor are her clothing. She's not out there sleeping with everything that walks. Now she needs a DNA test, and the Maury show ain't running like that no more. Right? A virtuous sister, she's at home making sure the house is taken care of. Even if she worked a hard day, she knows her man has to go out there and fight the whole world. Like, do you understand that a black man has to go outside and fight the whole world? A virtuous sister, she's not a headache for her man, for her head. She comes home and she makes sure that everything is done right. Right? She helps him get the strength when his days are down. A good husband goes home to his virtuous wife and he feels like he's at peace, right? That's his pillar of rest. Right? So let's get back into this story, and we're going to get into the meat of this story now to find out what happened and what was so good that she needed, that not that she needed, but now she's on the money, right? Like Captain Tazariak said, we don't really, you can hold those biscuits from scratch. Bring that bread, right? Keep the biscuits. We need go-getters, right? Viola Desmond was a go-getter. She wasn't just making them biscuits from scratch. I like biscuits, right? But she was also bringing that bread home. So let's get back to our story. Students were provided with the skill required to open their businesses and provide jobs for other black women within their communities. Each year, as many as 15 women graduated from the school, all of whom had been denied admission to white-only training schools, right? So that's to show you that they have a hatred for us, right? Officer Shariwan, get me Ezekiel 35:5. They have a hatred for us, and that hatred is so deep that it's not our fault that their forefather gave up the covenant that he was supposed to get. He gave up his inheritance to us, and now they hate us forever for that. That's not our fault. The Esau was profane, right? But they hated us, right? Desmond also started her own lines of beauty products, V's Beauty Products, which she marketed and sold with help of her church and the Nova Scotia Association for Advancement of Colored People. Desmond hired a lawyer, Frederick William Bissett, who represented and attempted unsuccessfully to file a lawsuit against Roseland Theater. Right? So if we're going to get into it, let's just get into it for a second. So basically, Mrs. Desmond, right? She had her beauty products, and there was no FedEx at the time. So she had to drive around and get her beauty products to where she needed to get them to. Again, she wasn't just making them biscuits from scratch. She was going to get that bread, right? Sisters, make that biscuits from scratch, but go get that bread too, right? And bring that back to your head. Right. So as she was going to go deliver her products, her car broke down, right, in the town of Gaslow, if that's how you pronounce it, right? And while her car broke down, she was basically told it's going to take a while it's going to take overnight to fix her car. So she decided to go watch a movie, right? Not knowing that the movie theater was segregated, because at the time in Canada, segregation was real, right? Canada also had a department of the Ku Klux Klan. They called themselves the Ku Klux Klan of Canada, Canada with a K. So they called themselves KKKK, right? And she didn't know that the place where she was going was segregated like that. So she wanted to watch a movie while she waited for her car. She just didn't want to be cooped up in her room that she rented. So she went to watch a movie. She purchased a ticket for the floor, right? So this movie theater that she went to, it was newly renovated, right? Because these devils didn't want nothing to do with blacks and Native Americans and the few Hispanics that were there at the time, they decided, you know what, colored people have to sit up on the balcony. So they changed their theater and got a balcony placed in. Now, she got a ticket for the floor. The devil that was at the counter sold her a ticket for the balcony. So she walked in thinking her ticket was for the floor, and she sat down watching the movie. As she sat down and watched the movie, the attendant or the usher came and told her she has to go up to the top where all the rest of the Negroes were. She decided, that doesn't make sense. I bought a floor ticket. She went back to the counter. The counter lady told her, no, you have to sit with the Negroes. Blacks are not allowed to sit on the floor. What she did was she said, I'm not doing that, and I'm going to sit on the floor. Right? So now let's get Salakia, Trooper Officer Sharyuan. Do you have that Ezekiel?
Kana. This is the book
All
of
right.
Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
Right. So our oppressors have always hated us, right? And whenever we were like in a time of need or a time of despair, they would make sure that they beat us down some more. Right? So what the sister did was she decided she's going to sit where she was. The police were called. They forcefully removed her and bruised her up, dragged her out of the theater to the point where she dropped her handbag and her shoe was knocked off. Now you got to think of what kind of force you have to use on a sister to knock her out of her heels, right? That's that perpetual hatred that they had. Just like what we were talking about earlier, where they decided to pepper spray a 9-year-old girl, right? Because they hate us. If you think that your oppressors love you, well, just ask yourself why you celebrate Black History Month in the coldest month, right? Why they said it's okay to celebrate your history for only a month. Now, if Black history is from February 1st to February 28th, that means the rest of the month is white history, right? So what they did was they threw her into jail, right? Now let's see if we can get some more of this article, right? So da, 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 da. Right, so she hired a lawyer to file a lawsuit against the Roseland Theater. Subsequent trials, the government insisted on arguing that this was a case of tax evasion. Right, so we're gonna get into that. Right, so as she was taken off to jail, at 7 p.m. She basically didn't know the rights and the weight of the land when it came to courts. The people in the jails and the people in the courts, they never told her that she could speak to a lawyer. They didn't advise her of her rights. Today, if you're not advised of your rights, you'll damn near get your case dropped. Half the time that happens. Majority of the time, the police just say, yeah, we read him his rights, and the judge just goes with it because you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American. That means you're a liar, you're a criminal, you're a murderer, and whatever else they think of you, that's what you are. Even though you're a college student or you're a child playing with a BB gun, they don't care, right? So she didn't know that she could get a lawyer. She didn't know she can go for bail. She didn't know that instead of going to trial the next morning, right? I know that sounds definitely weird that you get arrested one day and the next morning you go through trial, right? She didn't know that if she hired a lawyer or spoke to a lawyer, she could put off her trial until she spoke to a lawyer. None of that was told to her, and the next day she went through a lengthy trial at 9 a.m. Right, so as she went through her trial, she was subsequently convicted of frauding the movie theater. Right, so we're gonna break that down right quick. One second. All right, so the movie theater, so her arrest was a private prosecution, meaning that the owner of the movie theater, the manager, he charged her. This wasn't like a crime where the police turned around and said, you committed a crime, we're charging you. She didn't have to get charged. The owner of the movie theater decided to charge her, right? Now we're gonna break down the charges, right? So this was a private prosecution for downstairs tickets, right? To sit in the white section of the movie theater, the ticket for downstairs was 40 cents with a tax of 2 cents, right? But she was sold an upstairs ticket which cost 30 cents. The tax on the upstairs ticket was 3 cents. So just in hearing that, right? The upstairs ticket is a little cheaper, but they charge you in the taxes a little more, right? So when you do the math, what she was charged with was defrauding the movie theater of 1 penny, right? So over 1 penny, she was charged. She had to go spend the night in jail with other unruly people or other Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that were wrongfully charged, right? So she spent one night in jail and had trial the next morning over 1 penny, right? What was later found out was this had nothing to do with a penny. It was all about her skin tone, right? She was of the wrong skin tone in that section, and the town and the province of Halifax where she was very segregated at the time, right? So she was charged with defrauding the movie theater of 1 cent, and again she wasn't giving any legal advice. Right? She was arrested at 7 p.m., went to trial at 9 a.m. the next day. She was found guilty, right? She was found guilty and fined $20, right? Keep in mind, she's charged over 1 penny, right? 1 penny. But she was fined $20 and an additional $6, right? Now you got to think about it. If a movie ticket is 40 cents, $20 is a lot of money at that time. If a movie ticket is 40 cents. And in a time where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans aren't really allowed to work, they're not really allowed the jobs that they want. They're not really allowed to work in the spaces and do the things that they want. They're given the jobs that are deemed fit for them, right? So you can only imagine 20 cents was a lot of money then. Not 20 cents, Salakia, $20 plus the $6 fine. The $6 fine went to the movie manager, right? So he made $6.43 off this sister. She didn't even get to watch a movie, right? So what else do we got? Trooper Urad, can you bring me to Deuteronomy 28 and 16? Right, this is gonna go into what we were just talking about, how in the cities and in the towns that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans lived in, they weren't allowed to do the things that they wanted when it came to working and such. Whenever you got it, Doc.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Right. Read that up one more time for me, Ak, Baba Kasha.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Right. So in the city, sisters weren't allowed to go to school to learn how to do a trade. Right. And that's what was happening to our people. She wasn't allowed to go do a trade. She wasn't allowed to learn a trade. She had to travel to a whole nother country to go learn a trade. Right. Read.
Sir. And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Read.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Right. So as we read on, we're gonna read into the fact that because of the humiliation that she went through and the fight that she put up, she ended up closing down her schools and her businesses in the province of Halifax, right, in Nova Scotia. Salakia, I said Halifax is a province. In Nova Scotia, she basically had to close down, and she ended up going back to New York where she learned her trade. Right? So that's what we got for that. So again, her arrest was not a case of 1 penny. It was a case about race. Like they didn't want her to sit amongst the heathens, amongst the oppressors, because the oppressors believe that they're much more than they are. But we read earlier that the oppressors are spittle, right? That little piece of spit that flies out your mouth when you're talking sometimes, that's what the oppressors are. Right? They're nothing. They're nothing compared to who Israel is. Slovakia. One moment. Right? So as she was convicted, she later went home to her husband. Now she was
And Salakia.
Kana.
I was just
Salakia, what was that? Officer Shayuan, you still there?
Salakia. Go ahead. I'm lagging. I'm lagging.
Khan, I can hear you right now. All right, Officer Shayuan, whenever you're ready, chime in. Right? So as she went home, her husband was telling her, like, don't make a big fuss about it. Right? Just continue fighting and continue fighting and continue Salakia, not continue fighting, just continue doing the work that you're doing. Leave it to the Lord. Right? And we're going to get to a couple leave it to the Lord precepts in a second. But her husband was basically telling her, leave it to the Lord and he's going to take care of her. Right? But she decided to go to the people of her church. Right? And they convinced her to fight. Right? In the grand scheme of things, she should have just listened to her husband. Right? Salakia. Officer Shayuan, can you bring me to Ephesians 5 and 23?
Oh.
Right? In the grand scheme of things, she should have just listened to her husband and she would have still had her business and been able to teach more of her sisters. Right? And she wouldn't have been thrust into the limelight that eventually resulted in her leaving where she was. Whenever you have it, Doc.
God, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife.
Right?
Even as
So the husband is the head of the wife, and her husband advised her to just, it is what it is. Let's just go about our lives, and we're just going to leave it to the Lord, and the Lord is going to take care of her. She didn't want to listen to that, right? Read.
even as Christ is the head of the church. And he is the savior of the body.
Right? So her husband told her that just leave it to the Lord because Christ is the head of the church and he's the savior, right? But she went and decided to listen to two prominent people in her church, and they told her to fight. So in that fight, she hired Salakia. Let me get it right quick. In that fight, she hired Frederick William, who represented her unsuccessfully, right? And they filed a lawsuit. So they started that legal fight. And first, they started the fight to get compensation for her conviction, right? When they went to the court, they were because the time for her appeal for her conviction had passed. She lost that motion. She wasn't able to fight that motion, right? She wasn't able to get the appeal because the appeal time ran out. So they decided to attack Slovakia. So they basically, now they went to the county court, but the county court upheld the conviction. Her appeal was denied based on the fact that she wasn't able to her time ran out for the conviction. So with her and her lawyer, they went to the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia, right? And they sat in front of 4 white judges and pled their case. The white judges told her that she wasn't able to fight the conviction because she wasn't sitting in jail at the time, right? So she had to be in custody to appeal, right? So basically what she found out was that the same people who are supposed to uphold the law, they were holding themselves not guilty. They were basically siding with the white supremacist, right? And in siding with the white supremacists, they upheld the law of her conviction, right? And she wasn't able to fight it. Officer Salakia, Trooper Urad, are you there? Your mic's on mute. Can you bring me to Zechariah 11:5?
Come.
Right. So these people, she wasn't able to fight her conviction because our oppressors, they do the wicked things, and then they act after they devour us and do wicked things to us, they wipe their mouth and act like they did nothing wrong. Right? After like destroying us, they act like they wash their hands and act like everything's okay. Right? Trooper Urad is gonna get me. He's gonna get me Ezekiel 11:5. Shalakia, Zechariah 11:5.
Come, sir, I got it for you. Come, sir. This is the book of Zechariah 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not.
Right? So our oppressors, they kill us, they slay us, and they wash their hands, go eat with their families, and act like we did nothing wrong. I just shot a nigga today. That was about it. The Lord's gonna bless me. Right? And they act like they did nothing wrong because they know that outside of the I.S.U.P.K, our leaders have no care for us. Right? Our leaders put us in danger. Her church leaders told her to fight this conviction. And in result of her fighting that conviction, she lost her business. Right? It thrusted her into the limelight. In the papers, they wrote her up as a criminal who was evading taxes. Right? And all that limelight, it was just bad for her, and she was in a danger now. Right? She was placed in danger because, again, we had the Klan walking around the country. Right? And her life was definitely in danger. So to get out of that limelight and out of the imminent danger of the bloodthirsty oppressors, she had to leave and get out. Right? Trooper Urad, bring me to Job 9:24. Right? So those are the things that she was going through, right? And our oppressors are ultimately wicked. They truly don't care about us at all. Right? So, Kana.
This is the book of Job, chapter 9, and verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Right? So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they covered up our judge's face. The greatest judge we ever had, Christ, they made him to an effeminate homosexual white man who liked to sleep with his sister. Right? And they, like, our oppressors are extremely wicked. They know they did their sister wrong, and they still decided to uphold her conviction, even though they know it was wrong. Right? Slakia, read that one more time for me.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Right? So you don't have to go far. Right? You don't have to go far to find out who the wicked is. Right? And what that sister should have did was just leave it up to the hands of the Lord. Now I'm not telling you not to have your day in court and not to fight legally, right? But there's times when you have to know when to fight. There's a season for love, for war, for hate, right? And you just have to know when to fight, right? So we're gonna get into some more precepts, and what she should have did was just leave it up to the Lord, right? And when you leave it up to the Lord, he'll take care of you. Slakia. Right? So when you leave it up to the Lord will take care of you, and you won't have to worry about much, right? And Christ, he died for the Israelites, right? And because he died for us, and because we're going through so much turmoil and so much oppression, that Christ is going to come back, and he's going to slaughter our oppressors for the things that they did to us, right? Salakia, Officer Shariwan, can you get me blood up to the horse's bridle?
God.
Right? What else do I want? One second. Let's see some more things that I can get. Khan, drop that one when you have it.
God, it's Revelation. God, it's Revelations 14 and verse 20. And the winepress was trodden down without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Right, so that blood that Christ is going to shed is going to be so much, because our oppressors have shed so much of our blood, right? That blood is going to be up to the horse's bridle. If you know how tall a horse is, just go watch the Passover promo video, right? And you're gonna see a horse, and just look at that horse for a second, and think about the little bit that goes in the horse's mouth, right? And that's how much blood is gonna be from our oppressors. It's gonna be so much blood in the earth that it fills up to the horse's bridle. right? Trooper Urad, get me Psalms 25 and 19.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 25 and verse 19. Consider my enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with cruel hatred. Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee.
Right, and that's what we got to do right now. We got to start to put our trust in right back in to the Most High. We got to start keeping His laws. Don't be doing no stupid silhouette challenge, no stupid bust it down challenge, right? And have your kids run into the room asking, mommy, can I get some food? While you're trying to do a stupid silhouette and bust it down challenge. Trust in the Lord and trust that He's going to avenge you for all the crimes that the oppressors have done to us. Right? And that's basically what we need to do right now. That we just need to trust in the Lord and come back to his law, statutes, and commandments, walk in all His ways and be perfect. Right? Trooper Urad, get me one more verse, one more precept right now. Baba Kashar, get me Isaiah 14 and 21. That'll be the last precept for the night. I'm going to do the announcements. Then we're going to salute out.
Okay.
Right? So what we need to do is to walk with the Lord and walk in His ways, in all His ways, and we'll be perfect. Right? There's like this sister right here, she was a virtuous sister. She wasn't doing the most. She looked around and saw that there are no black spots for businesses, for beauty products for her sisters, and she decided to go learn and trade, right? These sisters right now, you're walking into Moabite nail salons and their beauty stores, and you're buying up all these wigs that look like roadkill. You're buying up all their beauty products when what you should be doing is gathering together, pooling your money together, and opening up that nail salon for yourself, opening up that beauty store for yourself. Just like Viola Desmond did. You and your sisters get together. Get in the I.S.U.P.K first. That's the first thing you need to do. Because anything you try to do without the Lord is not going to work. So the first thing you need to do is get in the I.S.U.P.K. After that, get all the $10 Viola Desmond bills that you're going to go spend on Lord knows what, and you save it. You pool that money together, pay your tithes to this school so we can do some more work, so we can go feed our people. And after that, you take the rest of that money and all those pretty purple tens that have this sister's face on it, you stack them up and you go open a nail salon for yourself. You go open a hair store for yourself, for your sisters. Right? You get in this school and you don't worry about what the oppressors are doing. Right? Because the oppressors are going to have their day of judgment. Right? And what we're doing right now in this school is we're preparing slaughter for our oppressors. Right? We're in this school keeping the law. Right? We're in this school celebrating the high holy days and memorial days that are in our history book. Because again, Black history is every day. Every day we create Black history, not just in the month of February. Right? You have pride in yourself because you feel that it's February, it's your history month. Every day is Black History Month. Our oppressor celebrates their history every day, and they force you to celebrate it.
That's
Right? Trooper Urad, do you have that Isaiah?
got it, sir.
Kanat.
So there's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and verse 21. And it reads, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Verse 22, for I will...
Salakia, that you can read that one too. Read that one too,
Sir. Verse 22, for I will rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut them off from Babylon, the name
Right.
and the remnant and son and nephew, says the Lord.
Right. So the Lord is going to rise up and cut our oppressors off from Babylon. Right. That's America, Canada, Great Britain, the daughter of Babylon. That's the Lord is going to cut them off. Right. He's going to cut off all our oppressors, and they're going to have to pay. We're in this. Salakia. 1 second. We're in this school trying to prepare slaughter for our oppressors. That's what we want to see. We pray for the day that the Most High comes and he removes us from our oppressors and he slaughters them, and then he puts us in our own land. Right, the work that Christ and the 200 million angels is going to do, all the slaughtering that he's going to do, we pray for that day. Right, don't forget to hit the sign out link if you're looking for Hebrew benefits. If you want to be in the school, put on all black. Right, hit that sign link. I'm dropping it right now. Like, share this video, share it to all the social media you could think of. Tell your friends and family about these videos. Watch these videos with your friends and family. Pay your tithes. Don't forget to pay your tithes. This work that we do is it, like, we need our people's help to do this work. Right? So the sign-in link is dropped. Hit that sign-in link, like, subscribe, and share this video. Again, I'm Officer of 50 Zabaja with Officer of 50 Shariwan and Trooper Yarad. We're the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. And that was the end of our subject. Again, Black History Month. Black History is every day. It's not just the coldest month of the year. Right? You should be celebrating Black History every day. Right? So with that said, I'm going to read the announcements right quick. We're going to salute out and call it a wrap until tomorrow. Don't forget that tomorrow at 7 o'clock, same channel, we got the Brotherhood class. Learn about this brotherhood so you can learn how to love your brothers and sisters properly. Right? Because you might think the celebrities love you, but the celebrities don't love you at all. Right, so I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shelter themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3, verses 8 and 10. Ma'ashara, which means 10th in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. The up and coming holy convocation, the next up and coming holy convocation is Purim, which is the 14th and 15th day of the 12th month, which will be Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, February 26th, 2001. You can find it in Esther chapter 9, verses 20 to 21. And those are our traditions. When you know your history, those are the traditions that you keep. All right? Reminder to check the ISUPK.com website. Get with your camp leader for Passover information. Salakia, one moment. Let me make the Passover announcement. Bear with me one moment. The Lord's annual Passover is around the corner, hosted by Commandant General YAHANNA, April 24th in Houston, Texas. Start making preparations now. This year's annual Passover will be held at the BH Ranch, 14149 Player Street, Houston, Texas. Hotel arrangements have been announced. Get with your camp leader and find out the hotel arrangements. The Passover fee is $200. If you paid your fee already, it's only $50. Right? If anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer, then salute out. Men of Israel, Akwathi, I'm watching. I.M.A.J.M, which means to stand. Sarupan Yah, Hakodam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Alakwa Ka, Wa'ah, Ratazakah, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayam, Lathanlanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawafinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Wanasaywan, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kayalaka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wahatha Parath, La'ai Walamyam, Aman. In English, what we just read, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever so be it. Men of Israel, Akwathi, I'm watching. Sar, which means turn. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M, Shabbat. I.M.A.J.M, Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahshai Barakatha. Yad Yamata, which means hands down. Men of Israel, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Sisters, fold your hands like this and keep your head down. And repeat after the brothers salute. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba'Hashem Yahshai. Yayamata. Class dismissed.